next speaker, a very, very special guest with us. She doesn't need any introduction. She has been veteran in technology backbone for governance for so many years. She is none other than Dr. Neeta Verma, Director General LIC. Thanks, Dr. Verma, for joining us. We welcome you. We'll have a perspective from NIC on how Arogya Setu app or healthcare technology is being provided by NIC for the healthcare ecosystem. Dr. Neeta Verma, your take on innovations being done by NIC in the healthcare front, especially in the new health and new world order. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Souvik, and good morning to all of you.
Good morning.
We all have been passing through unprecedented times. We have seen challenges which we have never seen before. I think many of us here may not have seen in our lifetime. All of us during these times have also used technology to overcome some of our day-to-day challenges, be it communication, be it entertainment, be it e-commerce, education, and of course, healthcare. New service models have emerged during this pandemic, and a lot of innovation is demonstrated by industry all around in almost all segments. In fact, organizations who had already incorporated digital technologies in their functioning have faced less disruption during these times than others. And with this uncertainty still around us, with no vaccine and some more time to come, we are seeing more and more digitization initiatives in healthcare as well as in other segments, which to me is a big boost to Digital India. In fact, what is amazing to watch is the way people of India have adopted technology. Virtual classrooms for primary class children in rural India, in villages, virtual notes, assignments to these young children provided virtually is something was not heard of. It's truly amazing the way they have adopted and continued their education. And same is with many other sectors. Coming to healthcare, at NIC we have been associated with healthcare way back since 1980s. In 1980s, we used to run a program called Medlars. This is much before internet came to the country, in which this platform was used to access all medical literature published, research literature published all across the world, and make it accessible to health doctors in this country. On this, we moved on, and later we also built a platform through which the research done by Indian doctors and researchers in this domain, and then make it accessible not only within India, also projected at the larger scale. So what I'm saying is doctors' interface with technology has been way back during those times. We've also seen a lot of embedding of electronics in medical equipments. Diagnostic, particularly, we have seen it is largely driven by electronics. The human interface has been really reduced to a very drastically, I should say. But somehow, provision of healthcare, doctor-patient interaction has been largely in person. We definitely have some good pilots in different regions where different villages or different districts have been adopted by some big hospitals, some mobile van testings have been done. At the same time, also some of the big industry houses has also adopted some public health centers to primarily demonstrate that how telemedicine or teleconsultation can really work. And some of them have also set up some kind of pilot public health centers and things like that. But if you look at it, they've been successful, but they have still so far have been largely localized to that particular region. They somehow sustenance and taking them to scale has been a challenge. And it is not because the technology used there was not of that level or the model was not good. I think there were a lot of enabling factors which were already not in place. including the I should not say a kind of an attitude of the public as well as the doctors, that perhaps for you they need to be really seeing patient in person kind of a thing was there. If you remember few years ago, if you talk to doctors and say let's have telemedicine, it was not that. Even patients were also not very comfortable. But what has happened in COVID time, and particularly in lockdown, it almost became a necessity. You had no other way to reach to the doctors. And government also came up with telemedicine guidelines. Put together, we started seeing that people started using these telemedicine platforms, teleconsultations, consultation with doctors on phone, and so on and so forth. Many of the big hospitals also opened up teleconsultation services of their own. And in this way, not only people experienced this teleconsultation and telemedicine firsthand, doctors also had a good experience. And I think now, if you talk to anyone, everyone feels that yes, telemedicine perhaps is the way, will be an important medium for providing healthcare in the times to come. So readiness is there, and we are going to see more of this. Although I understand some more enabling provisions are to be made in terms of in laws or guidelines to address some of the concerns of healthcare providers for as we move on. Coming to NIC, NIC has a product called eHospital, which is basically a hospital management software. It provides you end-to-end hospital management. It's a cloud-based software, right from your admission, OPDs to IPDs to billing, going forward to diagnostics, operation theater management, laundry management, dietary management, and including the diagnostics. This is presently being used in more than 400 hospitals across India, right from public health centers to premier institutes of the country. During these COVID times, while this we added on the request, we added a teleconsultation module to this, and through which people could can really avail services from doctors sitting at their home. Another important thing which Sovik also mentioned, and is perhaps um, one of those popular apps like social media apps has really become popular in the household also, is Arogya Setu. Arogya Setu, we're very proud, is today the largest contact tracing app across the world. We have over 15 crore people are already using this app in India. This is also the largest government app so far which has been downloaded by such a large number of people. What does Arogya Setu do? So Arogya Setu is basically a digital, technology-driven, data-driven solution to the manual contact tracing, which has been always a part of any disease surveillance program. It essentially uses Bluetooth technology and also uses GPS technology. So what happens when you download Arogya Setu app? It basically um, builds a social graph of the people you have come in contact with over the time. And when I'm saying people, and it records on your phone, this data continues to be saved at your phone. But when I'm saying people, it is only a DID of the person, which is called digital ID of the person, which is saved. No other personal information is saved. And it will only be able to record information about the people who also have Arogya Setu. So therefore, every person who has an Arogya Setu will have a DID, and your social graph will keep getting built over time. Now, if supposing one of the person who has an Arogya Setu and unfortunately turns to be COVID positive, at that time, all his data of that social graph, that whom all he has come in contact of, only last 30 days. In fact, on the phone also data is for last 30 days. This 30 days data is uploaded on the server and analyzed there using epidemiological models supported by data science and artificial intelligence. And then the score is calculated for every person who has come in contact with, that what is the probability of his having a infection, and what is the order of risk. Depending on what is your risk, whether you have a higher risk moderate risk or low risk, your phone Arogya Setu status changes from green to orange, yellow, and green if you are in the low risk range. At the same time, if the person who has turned positive, his status changes to red. So and so in a way, see what it does is it alerts those people who have come in contact with that COVID positive patient because they might have met him today, but person turns positive after 5 days. So they may not even get to know. But through this, you get to know that somebody whom you had met has come in, met has become positive, and if you have a high risk of infection, of catching infection, you may not catch, but you have a high risk because you're actually catching infection is subject to various other factors, including your immunity and all those things. So then you can be slightly at alert. You can quarantine yourself if you have some comorbid patients at your home or people at your home. Then you can keep yourself isolated from there. So you not only keep yourself safe, you also keep your family members safe, and this way you somewhere help in arresting the spread of virus and check our virus, which is what is the best we can do when we do not have any vaccine available. That is the only thing that what kind of measures we do to make sure that we arrest the spread of the virus. Lately, we have added another feature, and when you turn red, and then you want to know that how it machine has found out that that you have and sorry, when you have these infections and all, it also tells you that your status is becoming orange because you had met such and such person. When I'm saying such and such, please understand I'm only talking of digital ID. You met somebody at this time at for roughly at this duration. In a way, it helps you that yes, I mean you are not in ambiguity. And sometime maybe if you have in India, it happens. Everybody may not have phone. You may have handed over your phone to somebody else. If that person was carrying that phone, and because time is already given to you, so you can know that it is because of this person carrying a phone, this alert is coming. So in case there is any ambiguity or something, that also. So the transparency has been built, not only telling you that how are we processing data, also that how are we arriving at these prediction scores and things like that. Recently, another feature has been there, which is an optional feature that in case since your social graph is being built, at any point of time, you've not turned positive, but you want to know that what is the status of people who you have come in contact with as of today. Because if they have turned positive, you will get to know. But otherwise, you may not get any of that. But you can opt to upload your data proactively to the server, and then server comes back and tells you that how many people who have come in contact with you are at high risk, are at moderate risk, it kind of gives you some indication that what is the present status and how are you really doing, and or whether you should do, because some of us have to regularly move from one place to other place, go for meetings and all other things. So that way to those people it's very helpful. It also has a feature where you can find out that in a particular geography within 5 kilometer, 10 kilometer, what is the spread of COVID as of today? How many people are positive? How many people are declaring that they have symptoms? So supposing if you are moving into an uncharted territory which you don't know, as you go through your Arogya Setu, you can find out what is the profile of COVID infection in the place I am going, and you can accordingly take appropriate measure by whatever, whether wearing mask, wearing double mask, or sanitizing, or keeping a social distance. Once you know the region, it helps you. So these are the kind of features which it has. Now, to make it more useful, recently a couple of more things have been done, because as businesses are opening, shops are opening, small shops will not have that kind of wherewithal technology. So how do we enable them? So, and employees are coming to offices. So it has come with a feature called QR code. You can generate a QR code for yourself, and when you scan this, if anybody scans your QR code, he can get to know what is your current status. So you can share your QR code to an API. You can give a consent to share your QR code to be used. Similarly, now supposing if there's a shop or a small business and shop owner there are 6 people working on it. So on the app itself, these 6 people can share their status, or let's say it's a hospital, clinic, anything. These employees can give a consent that employer can see the status of this on a regular basis. And when this consent is there, this employer every day will have a visibility what is the COVID risk or status of the people who are working on his workplace. So that way it helps, making the, because even if one person is a risk or turns to be positive, you may have to shut down your entire office, because in our country, offices are often not that big that you can maintain that social distance which is needed. So this way you can continue or to do your work, but at the same time, with the help of technology, make your place a safe place. Going forward further, we are now, which is a feature which is going to come very soon, is because now we have an information people through this, that where are people more positive, where are more high risk people, where are this COVID-19 people moving around, because as I told you, we also captured the geolocation. With the help of this, we are able to also identify, with the help of IIT Madras, this whole data science has been done, and what are the predictive hotspots? Which are the area which will be turning to a hotspot in the times to come? It kind of alerts a week to 2 weeks before it actually becomes a hotspot. And we have also seen, especially some experiments done in Gujarat and all, that if the district administration or municipal councillor has taken appropriate measures when it was initially alerted in terms of containing people's movements and ensuring social distance, they have been able to avert that peak. They have been able to save themselves not becoming a hotspot and things like this. So this information is being shared by district administration largely for last few months, and now we are also making it available to public through the Arogya Setu, but this feature will be coming in a short while from now. Another thing which I would like to mention here is we also have a low code, no code platform called Service Plus. The Service Plus platform also have been very handy for us during this COVID time, because because state governments and central government had to manage a lot of things. It is not only managing health, all of associated things with scarcity of masks was there, ventilators, managing the inventory, finding out where enough oxygen cylinders are there, or PPE kits are there, or masks are there. So they need to develop small, applications or services which need to be this. How do you do? So the Service Plus, since it's a no-code platform, state governments as well as central governments could quickly use this and come up with online applications. One of the most notable application of this has been for the e-pass. During lockdown, some people for medical emergencies, some for essential goods, had to still move around. So you need to issue passes. So around 2021 states have used Service Plus e-pass framework, and through this they have been able to, in a matter of 2-3 days, they have been to start issuing passes to the people who wanted movement electronically. After doing this Arogya Setu, we realized that there is because Arogya Setu also depends to some extent the information flowing from ICMR when turns positive. Because when someone is turned positive, there we take the most authentic source of information, and which is ICMR, because they are responsible for testing all across the country. While we also supported ICMR, Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, as well as the NDSP, in strengthening their system, because they had some systems, but during this unprecedented time, they saw such a huge load that in the present infrastructure, they were not able to really manage that load. So we also helped them strengthening their infrastructure so that they could take care of this peak load which suddenly came, and that largely because we had a cloud, so we could help them scale quickly. So during this time, another necessity came, and we have done what is called RT-PCR app. This is an app which is done by NIC Himachal under guidance of NIC headquarters. Using this app, when technicians go and collect the sample for RT-PCR, all the basic information as per ICMR guidelines have to be collected about that person whose sample is being collected, which is needed for various other policy making and further decision, because this is an unknown situation. So you really need to know what is causing more infection, which is the region which is more susceptible, and so on and so forth. So this information had to be collected. Then this had to be passed on to ICMR labs, and from labs, then finally it comes to iSmartphone. So we have automated this entire solution right in the mobile. This information can be captured, and we have tested this, and we made this app so simple that within 1 minute you are able to capture. I mean, in fact, if you're quick, it's 30 seconds, but let me take an average and say within 1 minute you can capture that information, and from there information electronically transfers from the mobile app to ICMR labs, and from ICR labs finally the national testing portal of ICMR itself. As of today, over 2 crore samples have already been collected using this particular RT-PCR app. This was also a lot of learning because we had also not seen apps of this magnitude and size, 15 crore people using this app. So a lot of learning has happened, and I'll compliment both the teams, Arogya Setu app as well as RT-PCR, because when you design an app of this scale, you really need to take so many things into account, making sure that in India we have such wide variety of smartphones out using. Arogya Setu also had an IVRS component going ahead with, which was providing basic information and self-assessment and then guidance to people who did not have the smartphone, because we know we have around 50% population in India who still do not have a smartphone. Third thing which we addressed during this time was this data exchange framework. We had a disparate system in which was individual systems of individual organization, like ICMR was managing testing portal, testing part of it. Then the treatments were happening, treatment management was happening in Ministry of Health in terms of turning them into COVID hospitals, whether they have all those supply of logistics and things like this. And then also connecting with the district surveillance officers at the ground, because ultimately this testing information through ministry is passed to the surveillance officer, and it is their responsibility to suggest those people to undergo quarantine or go in isolation or to be admitted in hospital or to be tested for COVID positive. So there was a need for connecting this thing, and so we developed a kind of data exchange framework through which we connected all these systems, and information today flows almost in real time from testing to the surveillance officer sitting in any remote district of India. Everybody gets access to this system. This all while was happening in NIC headquarters. There was a lot of, as you know, in NIC, we have presence in every state capital and also in every district of India. So a lot of, and all these activities were happening almost in parallel, and every state was having its unique situation to be addressed, and they have their own innovation to address the situation on the ground. So our state centers also very closely worked with all the state governments, came up with number of mobile apps, dashboards, lot of data analytics, which happened across all the states. The positive time, I can't really mention them in detail, but a lot of work which was essentially, putting people in quarantine, disseminating the information about lockdowns, management that people have used technology to manage the people who are in quarantine, and also alerting them in case they move out from their prescribed, from their homes or wherever they are. So quarantine management, ASHA workers used to visit, doctors used to visit. So tracking all those things for the management and how things are happening, and also getting feedback from the ground in case there are some places where food supply is not going, there are some places medicines is not available, because in this pandemic it is not only health, all associated things also have to be managed at the same time. So a lot of systems have come up during this time. Same is with our district administration, district centers who work with district administrations in every district collector. They have also contributed in a big way, not only helping district administration perform their job and whatever IT support they needed. One thing which they did is they really supported them with video conferencing services, through which this district administration officers could be in constant touch with state government, and sometimes even central government also had, CAPSEC and Prime Minister's office also address these people to get feel of the challenges or any situation on the ground, also pass them advice and guidelines that how should they really take care of this thing. They were in between. Ministry of Home Affairs also was playing an important role, and issuing guidelines from time to time. What will be the movement of trucks across different states? how should you really address them, what kind of permits are needed. A lot of changes and a lot of these IT systems are being supported by our district centers. So overall, if I really conclude, it's been a very satisfying experience. I mean, there are many people in NIC who may not have missed the office even a single day during this lockdown period. I mean, some we could provide transport, some we could not provide, and I'll be always grateful to all of them for because see, this lockdown, though we have been working with government in disaster management during disasters, during lockdowns, but those lockdowns and disasters, this was little different in the sense at that time you didn't have this risk, and then if you are going there, you yourself are getting into risk. So that was really courageous for this thing. Now, last thing, as we move, what are we now planning to do? Because in this process, many of us have got a lot of experience of the challenges this thing. So there are 5 things on which we are planning to do. First is because we have understood the kind of scarcity of doctors we have in this country and our mission of providing quality healthcare for all, digital technologies have to play a big role. And for that, we really need some kind of a telemedicine platform. So we are building a telemedicine platform coupled with teleradiology, which will be available to our e-hospital users as well as any hospital who could make it generic, which could really plug and play with any hospital management system. So that we plan to roll it out because we feel that really needs to be encouraged, and that is how we will be able to provide healthcare to the people who are sitting in those small, distant villages and all. Second, as you have already heard, Prime Minister has announced about the health ID, which is to be given to every citizen. We have number of IT systems which we manage for health ministry and including our e-hospital software. We are now working with the National Health Authority to embed this health ID into all of these systems. So if I have a e-hospital, anybody who goes to the hospital and gets treatment where e-hospital is working, along with the other things treatment, he will also get a unique health ID, and that way, we'll be able to provide this health ID to citizens across India very quickly. Medical electronics is another thing which is working very well, and today, if you have diagnostic equipment, you have machines who can directly transmit information. You actually do not need human beings to be able to record this information and then put in. We wanted to do, but because at a large scale you can't do big disruptions. But I think going forward, we should connect all these diagnostic systems to be reporting the test automatically. What is the need for some data entry operator to sit down and upload it, which may have errors, which may have delays and things like this. So that is another domain which has to be really focused onto it. And another excellent thing has happened during this time is the use of data analytics and AI has been really demonstrated by many people, lot of state governments, state health secretaries, IT secretaries. Even in the center, we have seen a tremendous use of analytics in prediction, in diagnosing the situation, and prescriptive analytics. So we are going to now really work with all governments and see, because we have Center of Excellence on Data Analytics, that how do we really encourage more and more use of these technologies in going forward in healthcare. And as you have seen, there will be a need for whatever in healthcare, we cannot exist in isolation, whether it is state government, with the central government, or even private hospitals. All of us have to at some point interact with each other. I mean, all these healthcare facilities have to interact with each other. So we also building up a national API exchange through which these systems in a secure and manner will be able to interact with each other and provide. At the end, all of us are trying to reach the common objective of providing quality healthcare to every Indian in this country. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Nidha Verma, Director General NIC, for joining us and highlighting various aspects of NIC. I must say that we all know that unprecedented times actually results in unprecedented innovation. And I think we can only say that about Arogya Setu app, because when I remember when at the end of March, when the lockdown was announced, we all were struggling to think what is the way forward. And as you rightly said, that Arogya Setu app was the first app done by any government in the world over, which actually started and thinking about contact tracing. And as you said, it's the world's largest contact tracing app. So isolation, lockdown was one part, but what about tracing? who are infected or might be infected. I think my Arogya Setu has done that and done a great service to the country. There was some challenges, there were some questions raised, but I think you have mentioned all of them, that how a lot of innovation has been done within Arogya Setu app. As you have mentioned, that you have also kept in mind transparency of processing data. I think there was in some quarter there was some apprehensions regarding that. You have cleared that out, and I think 15 crore people using Arogya Setu app, that's huge. And also, as you have said, that Service Plus platform, e-pass framework in 20 plus states. And when you talk about the future of planning of NIC, you talk about telemedicine platform, digital health, national digital health mission, integration of health ID with embedded e-office system, medical electronics. You have focus on the future of NIC medical electronics, data analytics. We all know that already NIC have a center of excellence on AI and data analytics. I think all this will help citizens of Indian government governance. When we talk about NIC, we talk about governance. I think healthcare governance is all set for a huge change, and I think NIC is going to play a very, very crucial role. And for our audience, just to tell them that you can find some of these aspects and many more about NIC in the recent interview which you have done with Dr. Neeta Verma, Director General NIC in APEC News Network. You can read that also. Thanks a lot, ma'am, for joining us today in the inaugural of APEC Local India Healthcare Conclave, a 2-day conclave for promoting India healthcare innovation for the global arena. Thanks for joining us, Dr. Neeta Verma, DGNIC.
Thank you, sir.
With this, we move to a very